urgent need and great scope for the public and private sector to work together to achieve economic and environmental sustainability. As we are all aware, climate change is causing extreme weather events that result in loss of lives, livelihoods, and critical infrastructure at an increasing frequency. Unpredictable weather events also pose substantial macroeconomic risks by destroying output of essential agriculture commodities, including food crops. These events also disrupt supply chain linkages, contribute to economic uncertainty, and create additional challenges in achieving sustainable economic growth. It is important for countries to adopt an all-encompassing policy approach to reduce their carbon footprint and thereby slow down and eventually reverse the harmful impacts of climate change. In this backdrop, countries worldwide are recognizing the urgent need to transition to net zero by utilizing sustainable economic models. With that said, I will touch upon two main themes in my speech today. First, I will contextualize Pakistan's vulnerability to climate change with the progress that we have made so far in responding to this challenge despite our macroeconomic constraints. And second, I will discuss the role of stakeholders, especially policymakers and the financial services industry, in coming up with viable solutions to this challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan is among the 10 countries that are most vulnerable to the adverse impacts of climate change. The recent devastating floods of 2022 were an unfortunate example of our vulnerability to the changing climate patterns. Apart from the devastating loss of lives, the floods resulted in damages and economic losses that were estimated to some around $30 billion. This is despite the fact that Pakistan contributes negligibly to global carbon emissions, which are a major driver of climate change. Moreover, in line with the Paris Agreement, Pakistan has committed to unconditionally reduce its overall projected emissions by 15% by 2030. We have also committed to reduce emissions by a further 35% conditional on the availability of required external financing. To achieve the emissions target, Pakistan has planned to generate 60% of all energy from renewable sources. In spite of significant macroeconomic challenges over the past couple of years, we have made important strides toward sustainable energy transition. In fact, Pakistan already stands at a comparatively cleaner position relative to other Asian low and middle income economies in terms of the overall energy mix. Moreover, we are also transitioning away from fossil fuels at a faster rate than many regional economies. According to global data compiled by the Energy Institute, the share of fossil fuels in Pakistan's overall energy consumption has declined by 4.8 percentage points from 86.7% in 2019 to 81.9% in 2023. In the same period, the average share of fossil fuels in low and middle income countries declined by just 0.8 percentage points from 90.8% to 90%. Having said this, we know that we need to do a lot more to bring down our collective carbon footprint and achieve the emissions targets. We believe this is important for achieving sustainable growth in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings me to the second theme of my speech about the role that the public and private sectors need to play in order to make our country and the economy more resilient to adverse impacts of climate change. For the government's part, it has been taking a number of measures, largely under the Ministry of Climate Change. The government has developed a comprehensive resilient recovery, rehabilitation, and reconstruction framework to ensure a resilient recovery from natural disasters. The government also introduced the National Clean Air Policy to tackle the issue of air pollution. Moreover, under a great example of public-private partnership, multiple foreign firms are providing technical assistance to provincial governments to come up with and implement clean air action plans. The government is also geared towards increasing the availability and adoption of electric and hybrid vehicles in the country. The State Bank of Pakistan, being a dynamic regulator, is leading from the front to provide a conducive environment to the financial industry and businesses to achieve our common goals of achieving climate resilience. For this purpose, SBP has taken both direct and indirect measures. Under the direct measures, SBP has introduced refinancing schemes for renewable energy, whereby financing of rupees 94.7 billion has been disbursed by the end of June 2024. The scheme has provided financing to more than 4,500 renewable energy projects having a cumulative energy generation capacity of almost 2,061 megawatts. Whereas under the indirect measures, the State Bank aims to improve the capacity of the regulated entities to support uptake of green financing and enhance their resilience. In this regard, SBP issued guidelines on green banking with a view to enabling our regulated entities to recognize and prepare for managing environmental risks emerging from their businesses and operations. In addition, SBP has issued guidelines for efficient water management financing and introduced Environment and Social Risk Management Implementation Manual. The manual provides a robust framework for our regulated entities to integrate climate-related risks into their risk management practices. Moreover, in collaboration with the World Bank, State Bank of Pakistan is developing a comprehensive green taxonomy, which will establish a standardized framework for classification of green and transitional activities. The taxonomy will provide market players a common reference to identify and assess environmentally and socially sustainable projects and economic activities. A well-defined green taxonomy will not only facilitate investment in sustainable projects, but will also enhance transparency and accountability. I am confident that this will further streamline green product development with the financial sector. Going forward, we at the State Bank of Pakistan have included risk from climate change as one of the key themes in our strategic plan 2023-28, which identifies a range of goals and policy initiatives that we will take over the next 5 years to ensure sustainable growth. This theme gels in nicely with other themes in the plan, including technological innovation, diversity and inclusion, productivity and competitiveness, and strategic communication. Ladies and gentlemen, next I would like to discuss the role of the financial sector and private investors such as the Private Infrastructure Development Group. The financial sector is a critical part of the solution to the challenges posed by the climate change. Achieving a greener and climate-resilient economy is an enormous task, which requires a substantial amount of financing and strong and scientific and technical capabilities. According to the government's estimates, financing Pakistan's energy transition would require billions of dollars of financing every year. While such a huge amount appears to be daunting, it also offers vast opportunities to domestic and international financial institutions. These institutions can develop and launch effective and profitable green financing products. At the same time, we must recognize that it is imperative to substantially increase credit allocation to projects that enhance climate resilience and promote environmentally sustainable growth. It is essential that we leverage our financial sector's potential to align with the global shift towards sustainability, thereby contributing to both our national priorities and international commitments. Let me reiterate the wealth of opportunities that lie ahead for us. The still largely untapped market for green finance represents significant prospects for our financial institutions to finance sustainable projects that can yield long-term benefits for our economy and society. Encouragingly, ample funding is being offered globally for green financing of projects. Multilateral institutions including IMF, World Bank, Asian Development Bank, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank have all expressed their eagerness in facilitating the global energy transition, especially for developing economies. Moreover, socially responsible investors are increasingly seeking avenues to invest in green initiatives. According to Climate Bonds Initiative, the cumulative issuance of green bonds has